Hello everybody, this is Tetrafolium, back for the week 2 video. Well, I guess I should say my week 2 game. It's always a little interesting, doing 2 videos a week and having to kind of differentiate between the two, but you guys just clicked on it, you know what it is. I think for this team building section here, just for the sake of doing it once, at least this season, I'll try to recall the order that I thought about things. Um, I don't put my team in order of when I like finished building their set or something like that, because I don't want to give my opponents any sort of insight based on that. So I always put my team in order of like how many points they are, and then if they're the same amount of points, what order I drafted them in, just to kind of eschew any notions of uh, what Pokemon I thought were a higher priority than others for this team. Um, Not that I think that it really matters that much, but any sort of advantage I want to take away from my opponents. In any case, I think the first idea that I had with this team was actually Ariados. And I would not be shocked, I'll be honest, that if Ariados is coming, it usually is the first Pokemon thought about, because Sticky Web is such a huge game swing. Like being able to have speed control is massive. So I actually picked Ariados first for this team, and the reason why is because my opponent only had one spinner, which was Tentacruel. I didn't think that Tentacruel had a fantastic matchup into my team because I've got a lot of really strong ground types that can punish it, primarily Landorus and Rhyperior. Um, at this stage of the game, I thought Landorus probably would have made it to the team, but as you can see, Landorus is not on the team. That was kind of a last minute decision, but I digress. Uh, yeah, now, not to say that I was going to be completely fine against this team, because Tentacruel could still Rapid Spin, but my thoughts were Tentacruel might not come. It might be forced into a bad matchup if it is going to come. And even if it does, I have Drifblim, who is a fantastic spin blocker. Well, maybe not like the most fantastic spin blocker, but when your only way to spin is rapid spin, any defensive ghost type is going to feel really good. So Drifblim was the second Pokemon that I put on this team. As for the EVs and stuff, Ariados, it took me a little while to figure out the EVs. I just knew that I wanted Sticky Web. But I think that Drifblim was probably the one I got the EVs for first. Despite not being the first Pokemon that I picked. I do have some notes here that I'll read. Jupiter, or Drifblim, I should call my Pokemon by their nicknames. This amount of special attack investment, 224 with no plus nature, is enough to one-shot a Deoxys speed that has no bulk investment, like no HP, no special defense, which I thought would be pretty useful because, one, Sticky Webs might go up and Deoxys might not be quite so fast, and two, with Unburdened, I would outspeed a 252 Deoxys speed, so meaning no plus speed nature, and definitely so if it's sticky webbed. Now you could say, what if it was 252 plus and you don't get your sticky web off? Well, then I wouldn't be able to outspeed it, but I would live an ice beam or a knockoff or a psycho boost a little better. So I'm not so concerned with that. Plus, Deoxys Speed is a Pokemon that when you are playing in draft, you really don't want to put all your speed into because it's going to outspeed almost everything anyway. So just give yourself more special attack. Usually, at least that was my philosophy when I was playing with Deoxys Speed a few leagues ago. But I don't know. Something about my opponent from his game last week made me think that I could probably bank on him not being max on all of his stats, or at least not all of his speed stats. He seems like he plays with sort of an understanding of what benchmarks you need to hit, which is really good and helps you out in a lot of matchups. But if you're too predictable with it, you might get caught. Now, if sticky webs goes up, it's kind of a moot point, I guess, unless he's heavy duty boots Deoxys, but I don't really anticipate that. Then the next thing I thought about for this team was who is going to be like basically my attacker, who's going to take advantage and win the game. And I decided to go with Hydreigon. Now the set is not the best necessarily for just going for a game off of a sticky web sweep. I was still really worried about not being able to get the webs up, so I went with a pretty slow Choice Scarf Hydreigon. The idea with Hydreigon Mars, again, I should keep calling them by their nicknames, but anyway, Mars, he has enough speed to outspeed a completely max Roaring Moon. So 370 is what Roaring Moon hits. I'm 371. So I would still be slower than Deoxys speed, but I'd have to run super significant investment to not be slower than Deoxys speed. But I did just throw basically all of my EVs onto special defense, just in case I need to switch into Deoxys, maybe an Ice Beam. I might live one depending on what Deoxys he is. If he specs, probably not, but if he's like a slightly less offensive version, maybe. Superpower, not gonna live that, sorry. But say like I need to switch into a Gardevoir move that's not Moonblast, then I've got a little bit better survivability. Like if I'm gonna switch it on a Thunderbolt, predicting a hit into Driftblim, or I don't know what other cover. Maybe maybe if they have Shadow Ball, I'm not sure, but just any amount of bulk is good. I felt like more speed was not that necessary. I wasn't gonna hit anything that I really cared to hit by putting 252 on. The moves. This is basically like good coverage into the opposing team, except Gardevoir can be a little tricky. I could have run Flash Cannon, and I think I did have Flash Cannon on for the longest time, but I decided that Gardevoir is so likely to either switch out, anticipating Flash Cannon, or Terra, especially a Terra Electric, to resist Flash Cannon, or at least not be weak to it. And then, yeah, I would be put in the dirt pretty much by a Moonblast. So I decided that it's probably not worth it to even bother with Hydreigon unless I'm going to kill with Dark Pulse anyway. So I decided to put Stealth Rock on. You never know if there's a turn where it would make sense to get a cheeky Stealth Rock up. And if Tentacruel is handled, then the Stealth Rock will stay up, and that will be really good for me, especially in a league where not every Mon can run heavy duty boots because of the item clause. So I thought that might be a good idea. So basically, I've been going in almost reverse order for this team, but I think I then decided that I want Ogerpon. Ogerpon is pretty nice because she with a Trailblaze will outspeed basically everything. Right now I have just enough to outspeed max speed Lando T with no investment. The idea being that if Lando T comes in, I can just rip my Ivy Cudgel and get the chip that I need for maybe Pyro Ball, maybe Dark Pulse to kill later. Play Rough is just a really good move to hit Roaring Moon. There's no other Pokemon on the team that you really care to hit with Play Rough, but oh, that's all. Roaring Moon's also the only Pokemon I think that resists water and grass, other than like Abomasnow. But Abomasnow is not that scary for me because I'm gonna bring Cinderace. Now, I guess I should note that Abomasnow could be Terra Water, but I'm kind of fine with forcing the Abomasnow to burn the Terra, because then that means that Gardevoir can't, and Gardevoir's the much scarier Terra captain of the two. Um, I thought about court change, but since I'm running sticky webs, I don't really want to put myself in a situation where I throw up the sticky web and then I'm gonna have to court change. It would just be a waste of a move slot at that point. And I don't sense that the hazard stacking of this team, this opposing team, is all that bad. I mean, yeah, rocks kind of suck, especially if I'm not running boots on Ace. Which I'm actually not going to run boots on anybody, which is really crazy. But I looked at Expert Belt and I decided I really needed it to help me get some KOs. The biggest one is that U-Turn and Sucker Punch with the Libero boost will one-shot a Deoxys that has no investment. And that's basically what I was looking to optimize, is like get as little attack investment as needed, so I can put more bulk in, so I can live something like a Psycho Boost, which I will, as long as the Deoxys is not a Specs. I think I'll live Life Orb, and I'll also live a Specs Gardevoir Psychic, as long as the Gardevoir's not modest in Specs. It could be, though, so that could be a problem. Low Kick with the Libero boost is also enough to OHKO a Roaring Moon that has no investment. So that's really good. U-Turn is just a bit shy, so I decided it was necessary to run Low Kick. Pyro Ball is, obviously it's just a really good stab move if it hits. We know how Cinderace likes to do its 90 accuracy moves, but the good thing is all the rest of the moves are like 100% accurate, so I don't have to worry too much. And then when it came down to the last pick, I think originally I had Landorus, but I was like, Landorus feels like it just doesn't quite want to deal with some of these Pokemon, particularly Landorus T. I don't have a great... Excuse me, I just completely kicked my mic out of the port. That was kind of dumb of me. I'm a little embarrassed now, but obviously I'm gonna leave it in because that was funny. Yeah, I don't have a great move to hit Landorus T. Psychic is probably the best move, but if it's especially defensive Lando T, I'm just not doing much damage at all to it. And if it's a non-defensive, I don't want to give it too many opportunity, to U-turn, to get up rocks, to maybe like Smackdown and put me into a bad spot with ground type moves. Granted, I don't think they'd be that strong, but it just didn't seem like it quite would have worked. So I opt to go for Rhyperior. Rhyperior is really interesting because with Rock Polish, I can get faster than a max speed Infernape at plus, just one Rock Polish. I made sure to give myself enough attack to 2-hit KO Roaring Moon with Ice Punch. And it's actually if it was a 252 defense Roaring Moon, which is if you were going to put 252 investment in, I think that's just about the best you could do. Do I think that 252 defense Roaring Moon is going to come? No, but I could maybe see a little bit of defensive investment, and I didn't want to just bank on like completely minimum because I'm already doing that for so many of my Pokemon. I want to feel a little bit more comfortable. Plus, you know, Rhyperior's got so much attack, and it's just really nice to invest into it. And it's also pretty bulky, so I don't have to invest so much into the defenses. But in any case, we're gonna live a couple key things like an unboosted Earthquake from Roaring Moon. We'll live certain neutral hits as well, like a non-specs Moonblast from Gardevoir. And yeah, that's basically the team. I guess I could explain Juno a little bit because I think Juno was actually the last one that I finished, even though it was the first I put on the team. I decided to go max attack Adamant because that just straight up OHKOs Deoxys speed with Leech Life. So if we had a situation where, let's say I led Juno, they led Deoxys speed, I go for Leech Life on their taunt, I'll just kill the Deoxys if it has no defensive investment. It might have some defensive investment, but if that's the case, Shadow Sneak will pick up the kill always. I guess unless they're the bug resist berry, I don't see that happening though. In any case, Focus Sash will guarantee that we will hit, and I've got Swarm on because if I get hit with a Psycho Boost and put down to Focus Sash, it does not matter how much investment the Deoxys has, I will kill it with Leech Life as long as it doesn't have the Bug Resist Berry. But that's same sort of case as that Shadow Sneak usually picks up the KO after that. So not too bad. We also, I think, take a KO on Roaring Moon after the Swarm, which is good. We have enough speed to speed creep a minimum speed Abomasnow in case it comes. It also, I think, speed creeps my Empoleon in case they decide that they're going to try to speed creep Empoleon as well. Which is also a possibility. As for the last move, I put Toxic Thread on. I figured that I wouldn't need like I don't really need another attacking move like Sucker Punch. Most of the things that I would want to Sucker Punch, I can Shadow Sneak just as easily anyway. And Shadow Sneak is a little better into something like Gardevoir. Toxic Thread is just here as a sort of disruption status move. If I manage to get it off on something, like maybe something comes into revenge kill my Ariados, after I, say, knock out a Deoxys speed, I outspeed it because maybe I got my sticky web off. Like, I'm just getting all the best luck here. I don't really want to click a move to get chip. I'll just Toxic Thread. Toxic Thread is really cool. It's the signature move of Ariados. It poisons the target and reduces their speed one stage. So in theory, they would be at -3 and also poisoned. I think I could have run Toxic instead, but I thought like there may also be a situation where, like, say Roaring Moon comes in, and I don't have my Shadow Sneak up, or sorry, my Sticky Webs up. Wow, that's crazy. So just getting a little speed debuff on it would be good. It'll outpace the well, it'll keep pace with Dragon Dance, so I'm gonna force the Roaring Moon to attack me and kill me if I am just not confident that I'm gonna get my Leech Life off. I'm not sure if that will ever really come into effect, but I figured Toxic Thread was just as good, if not better, than things like Scary Face or Toxic, so we'll take it. Yeah, overall, I think this team is going to match up decently well. We're going to need Driftblim to be good in its ability to disrupt mostly the physical attackers with Strength Sap. It is going to get a good, nice threatening Shadow Ball into this team. We have Terra Blast fighting as well, just in case we need to hit Roaring Moon. We usually beat Roaring Moon one-on-one, especially if we're behind a substitute. And as long as we have access to our Terra, if Rhyperior has the Terra Flying to dodge a, say, like an Earthquake or an Earth Power from Land OT, then we might not be in such a good spot, but I rest my case here for this team. So we'll see what happens in the battle. I love this battle music so much. It's so cool. Like the techno electronic instruments and how ethereal it kind of feels. It really does fit Deoxys, like this otherworldly alien type entity. In any case, here we are. We have I see most likely a support Tinkaton and a support Abomasnow with, well, these two threats. This team probably has like the strongest top two of anybody. Roaring Moon and Deoxys Speed cover each other so well. I mean, there's a little bit of a blind spot on hitting fairy types, and I kind of thought about bringing Floor just because of that, but I felt like there was going to be a lot of text to beat Florges, and Florges was not perfect at beating things like Roaring Moon. For example, they could run Iron Head, and a boosted Iron Head, if it gets a flinch, I would be in a very, very bad situation. So I wanted to game plan around something different, and I figured that Hydreigon as a revenge killer is probably threatening enough. Now, the two fairy types are going to be a little bit of a problem for me. But hopefully we'll be able to handle them. In any case, I don't see Tentacruel on the team at all, so Sticky Web should be pretty free to get up. I'm actually going to lead with Ariados, and they go with Land OT. So a thought that I had here was, what if this is a taunt Land OT, and that's the reason, like that's the thing that was brought to handle my guy here. And if it's like Rocky Helmet, I'm just going to bust my own Sash anyway. So I don't think there's much of a point for me to stay in at all, because if I get taunted into my status move, I'm just wasting a turn, not really getting anything. And if I attack and get taunted, I'm really screwed. Now, if this is a non-taunt Land OT, it's maybe a non-issue, but I don't want to give myself a chance to lose the game immediately. So I go to Wellspring, because my thought was that it was quite unlikely that we were going to see a U-turn here. If a U-turn did come out, that would have been pretty bad. I would have been pretty low, but I still would have lived, and if I could play pretty conservative with the Ogerpon, I might be okay. Although Tinkaton probably could come in, set up the rocks, and then I'd be in trouble. In any case, I did look at this calc. It seemed a little bit more on the offensive side. Maybe not completely max, but it definitely had some attack investment to be able to do this much. I think, or maybe it was like really unlikely if it was min attack or no attack investment. In any case, it worked out pretty well for me here, because we're going to force a switch, and I get to Ivy Cudgel, just get some damage here. I see that this Abomasnow is not completely max defense and HP, which is interesting, but I just go to Cinderace and get my U-turn. The Abomasnow would either have to Terra to live a Pyro Ball or switch, and if it Terra's water, I just want to get out of there anyway. And if he switches, then I can probably find a better matchup for whomever I'm into. So I go to Driftblim here. I could have went to Rhyperior, who definitely could have threatened to go Terra Flying and just Ice Punch the Lando, but I thought going hard Rhyperior would be like way too obvious that my Rhyperior is kitted to beat this Lando. So I just wanted to go to Driftblim instead, which is a little bit safer. I clicked Substitute because I think that this Lando is probably going to switch out. I go for Strength Sap, mostly trying to catch like if Roaring Moon is going to switch in, but it'll also put Tinkaton in a spot where it might not be able to break my substitute with Play Roughs anymore. But it goes for Encore, so now I'm stuck into Strength Sap, and I said I'll just get out of here. Goes to Deoxys. Now, Rhyperior does have enough bulk to live like some sets of Psycho Boost, but if this is a spec Psycho Boost, I'm just gonna die. I don't really remember what I did on this turn. I went for Ice Punch. I guess the idea was I was not willing to risk going to like Cinderace on a predicted Ice Beam or go to Hydreigon on a predicted Psycho Boost. So I just went for Ice Punch, hoping that he would like not be that and switch out, or that I would get enough damage to put Deoxys into Earthquake range anyway. Yeah, she goes to Abomasnow, which is going to take 17. Because it's not leftovers, any chip on Abomasnow is pretty good because, yeah, it's got the Aurora Veil, which is going to be really nasty. Now, I could, if I was court change here, I could have court changed the Aurora Veil to my side, and I would have been in a really dominant position at this point, but I don't have it, so I just go for Pyro Ball. It hits the Lando, which gets me a little bit of chip on it. More importantly, it has a chance to burn. So if I burn this Lando, I could be in a really good spot, and I'm willing to play for a little bit of hacks here if I'm in a position where I can do so safely. I did not get the burn, so I'm just going to U-turn. I know I'm faster than this, so I'm not worried about taking an Earthquake. It gets a little bit of chip. Again, this Lando also has no recovery, so I'll be in a good spot there. So he goes for Stone Edge and hits my Drifblim for 81, which is a lot. But I eat my Citrus Berry, which most importantly gives me my Unburden boost. So I can Strength Sap. He's at -1. He's actually going to U-turn. Go to Gardevoir. So Gardevoir traces the Unburden, so he knows for sure that I'm Unburdened, meaning that I'm probably going to be faster than the Gardevoir. And this is a really tough turn here. With the Aurora Veil up, my Shadow Ball is doing about 50. Not even guaranteed to do over 50 to most Gardevoir sets. I mean, there's some like really defensive Gardevoir sets that would take it even better, but I kind of doubt that he's like Assault Vest or something like that. And I'm kind of in a spot where, like, say this Gardevoir goes for Terra Electric to take even less from Shadow Ball and then throws off a Thunderbolt. That would certainly kill my Drifblim with no, with the type that I am now. I could Terra and kind of bypass that, but we'll see. I believe what I do here is I just click Shadow Ball. I do get a very lucky critical hit. Not quite lucky enough because I didn't get the roll to kill. But that's huge for me because now this Gardevoir is basically going to die to whatever move comes out. If I didn't get the crit, it might have lived maybe some other moves from this team. Maybe like a Shadow Sneak from Ariados would be the biggest one, and if Aurora Veil goes up, it would probably live even more. Instead, the Gardevoir goes for Moonblast here, which drops my special attack, but doesn't quite kill me. I can just go for another Shadow Ball. I figured that that's probably the best thing that I can do. It would guarantee the Gardevoir kill, and if something switches in, it's just going to take some chip. Roaring Moon switches in, and I say to myself, well, I should Strength Sap this. It's got the Proto attack boost. I just do not want it to like start Dragon Dancing and get out of control. So I'll just Strength Sap indefinitely if I need to. Goes for knockoff, but because I don't have my item, it's not a kill. I decided to go Terra Fighting and Strength Sap, basically so that I'm guaranteed not gonna die to the Roaring Moon on the next turn. I'll get it down to -2, so it's not going to be that powerful if I need to switch. And going Terra fighting, if it goes for knockoff, uh, I will live with more than half HP, and I can do a lot of other nasty things like substitute again, uh, get some Terra Blast chip, get some Shadow Balls, try to fish for some drops. But instead, it just goes to Abomasnow, so I'm gonna go to Cinderace. Um, Goes to Landorus on my Pyro Ball, which is really good chip here. If I got the burn there, I definitely could have went for the kill, but U-turn is at least going to put me in kills the next time that he comes in range. I just go to Drift Blim. It's going to resist pretty well what the Landorus does, and I get a pretty nice Strength Sap if it stays in. He actually goes for U-turn, and the Gardevoir comes in. The Gardevoir can just kill me with Moonblast, and I'm willing to accept that. I could have maybe switched to like Cinderace if I wanted to save this, but I figured that I would want my Cinderace HP for later, and I think that Jupiter is not quite that good anymore. Now that I've Terra'd it, and gotten, I mean, I've got the Landorus down pretty low. I've expended the booster energy on Roaring Moon, and the Gardevoir is also just dead to whatever. So I'm kind of fine with sacking Drifblim here. I don't think I need it anymore. It would still be nice into Roaring Moon, but not entirely necessary. So sack it. I'll go into Ariados, which is threatening to kill with Shadow Sneak, which I think he probably knows. I'm just going to get my Sticky Web up. He actually switches, which is fine, definitely fine by me. It preserves this, the Sash. I'll switch to Rhyperior, because if this thing goes for anything other than Stealth Rocks, I can always bring Ariados back in. It might be useful against Deoxys still. He actually does go for the Stealth Rocks, which is a little unfortunate, but I'm in a pretty solid spot, and I can kill the Gardevoir that switches in. Revealing Ice Punch means that this Landorus definitely cannot switch in, especially when it's this low. So I figured that Tinkaton staying in was way more likely than a switch to Landorus, so I just went for Earthquake. In comes Abomasnow. I just go to Ariados, because I'm willing to sack this. And it actually goes for Terra Water. I mean, the other Gardevoir, the other Terra Captain, is gone at this point. So if you think that a Water-type Abomasnow is the best thing for you in this situation, which it seems like it is pretty good. Like, now you're resisting Ogerpon's Ivy Cudgel and Cinderace's Pyro Ball. You're in a pretty good spot there. But in any case, I actually lived the Blizzard, which is good. I go for Leech Life here, saying, well, I can get a Swarm Leech Life off if this is a min speed Abomasnow. It shows that it's not. It's got at least a little bit of investment, so the Ariados doesn't quite get to do much. You might say, why didn't I go for Shadow Sneak there to get my chip? Well, I figured that, you know, the Shadow Sneak chip onto Abomasnow is probably not that necessary, and I don't want to, like, give a switch to, say, like, Roaring Moon, or, I mean, hell, even Landorus, just, like, for free. So, I'm willing to do a play that gets me a lot better on a potential misplay for my opponent, than, like, the quote-unquote, like, safe play, assuming that they stay in. I don't know if I explained that well, but, I'm sure you probably understand the logic, at least a little bit. In any case, I can Swords Dance in front of that. I know I'm not going to die to a Blizzard from the Abomasnow, and it might be afraid of a Horn Leech or a Power Whip. Horn Leech would actually be really bad for him, because I would get a bunch of HP back on my Ogerpon and get out of range of some of these attacks. So I get my Sword Stance off. I am faster than Landorus guaranteed, so I don't really care. I go for Ivy Cudgel, which crits the Roaring Moon and absolutely kills it. That kind of matters in a sense, because Roaring Moon probably lived the Ivy Cudgel without the crit, but I outsped it anyway, so I mean I would have just got another Ivy Cudgel off, so it's kind of like it matters, but it kind of doesn't. Maybe they would have had a possible switch to Abomasnow, but like, you know, you're putting yourself in the same like position as soon as you switch to Abomasnow. Like if I go for my grass type move, you just die. So I don't know. It might have given another switch back to Landorus to get another attack drop, which is what they're going to go for here. I decide I'm just going to take the kill on Landorus. Yeah, Abomasnow is the only thing that really would want to switch into an Ivy Cudgel anyway. And like when Abomasnow comes in, it's like, again, the same problem. It's just I'm going to hit with the grass move. So you kind of do have to sack Lando here. Deoxys Speed comes in, and Deoxys Speed can certainly still outspeed Ogerpon at -1. It might not if it's like a low amount of investment. Like let's say if the Deoxys was only running enough speed to outspeed Cinderace, which I mean it can do that with absolutely no investment, which is really, really crazy to me. But I decide to stay in. If he is that, then I'll just kill this and I don't care. But he's not. I know he's running enough speed for Ogerpon, which tells me, I mean, it really only tells me that he's faster than 310, but it makes me assume that he's faster than, or he's running like close to max speed, maybe 252 or just around, which tells me that Cinderace may have to Sucker Punch this out. This is good information, and also the Poison Jab tells me that this is probably a more on the physical side Deoxys, so it may have Psycho Boost, but it probably has like Superpower. It's probably attack invested, so it might not be completely max speed either. I don't know. A lot of steps towards good information here. But then I see the Life Orb, which is even better for me because I'm like, okay, I don't have to worry about like a Choice Band, for example. Cinderace comes in. If this is not like a max attack Deoxys, and I know it doesn't have Culber Berry or the Bug Resist Berry, I'm threatening a possible kill here. I go for U-turn. Again, Cinderace could have been faster than Deoxys, as long as it wasn't completely max speed. So that was threatening the kill, and if Abomasnow comes in, then like or Tinkaton, this is still just really good for me to get out. If he went to Tinkaton, I could have went to Rhyperior pretty easily. You can't go for Thunder Wave, which is probably the worst thing that could happen to my Rhyperior. You're gonna have to go for Gigaton, but I'll live 1 Gigaton. And Earthquake is just really good. Nobody wants to switch into Earthquake at this stage of the game. I go for Dark Pulse, just because it's my safest move. And Tinkaton does get its Gigaton Hammer off. I'm actually going to live more than 1, possibly, which is good. He gets a Shuka Berry activation and lives the Earthquake, which is pretty nice. I wonder if Air Balloon might have been better. I don't know. I guess it would have been, I would have known for sure if I popped the balloon that Earthquake would have killed, so maybe that's a big thing. And this is probably like a Spadef Tinkaton as well. Probably trying to knock off the Landorus's Life Orb. Encore probably also helps with a potential nasty plot. And then I don't know how much Gigaton Hammer would have done, but probably a lot as well. I would think Ice Hammer, or I think it gets an Ice type move of some kind, may have been better, but if that was the case. But I mean, Gigaton Hammer is just really good in general. So I do outspeed though because of the webs, and I get my knockout with Earthquake. As for the Deoxys is not guaranteed to kill with some moves that it could go for. And it also might miss like Psycho Boost if it was going to go for that. So I decide I'm just going to stay in. If he goes for like Superpower, then Cinderace is a little safer even because I would probably live any physical move that he goes for in that case. Maybe not, okay, maybe not every physical move, but some of them. If I wanted to go that angle. Also, just like switching into like Hydreigon, for example, and then like taking a superpower, I could maybe lose the game from there. So I don't want to risk anything. I'm just going to sack the Rhyperior. At this point, though, I'm pretty confident that the Scarf Hydreigon is going to outspeed the Deoxys, and that Dark Pulse is going to knock him out. So I'm just going to go for it. I get a critical hit. I don't think it mattered. Maybe, like, again, he would probably have to be, like, near max Spadef to not die to that. In that case, you know, if, like, let's say if he didn't, actually, we'll pull up the calc. So Hydreigon into Deoxys speed. I mean, Dark Pulse is doing that much. If it was 252, then he would need probably even more than that. Like, there's still a roll to kill if he's like basically max. I mean, I guess, well, maybe he could be running, say, not a minus Spadef nature. Okay, if he was like that much, then yes, he probably could have lived that. But I severely doubt that he's got any more investment than 252 HP, and we kill a 252 HP Deoxys like pretty much right on the button, which is really fortunate. So yeah, I think that I was pretty likely there. I also had chances to get a flinch if that didn't work out for me. And also the Deoxys had a little bit of Life Orb chip on itself, so even then it was like, what, at 81? Like, or maybe even 80. Dark Pulse still like pretty favored to kill. I didn't give it the plus Spadef nature, but I just like going that high on the Deoxys with a Life Orb on there is just, I feel like, not happening. Abomasnow comes in, and I go for Dark Pulse. I just need to put it in range for U-turn to kill. And most of the time I do against like a Spadef Abomasnow, but he actually reveals to be, like, I guess really offensive. Not very much HP at all, because Dark Pulse just straight up kills. And that's a good game. I thought that game turned out pretty well. I was maybe a little too cautious at the beginning, switching my Ariados out on turn 1 instead of just getting Sticky Web. If I got Sticky Web up on that play, I probably could have made the game go by a bit quicker, because then, like, Ogerpon is faster than almost everything, so Ogerpon is threatening a lot of kills here. I can force a lot of progress early. Rhyperior is faster than some things, and with a Rock Polish faster than pretty much everything. So if I could get dances off with that early, it could have won the game pretty quickly. Cinderace is also faster than everything there, so get good opportunity to Pyro Ball and U-turn and keep the foot on the gas. This is why Sticky Web is such a useful tool, and why, if you're like struggling to find a good Pokemon when you're at the end of your draft, you don't have any points left, these low point Sticky Webbers could like legitimately make the difference. Ariados is 3 points on our draft board when the top tier is what, 23. But like, it still can be a contributor here, and it has just enough tools like that. It was actually really good in this matchup. It was threatening kills on Deoxys, potentially on Roaring Moon. Depending on the Abomasnow set, could have been really good there. And then this, the Sticky Web speaks for itself. That's literally all it did this game, and it was major in the end game. If I didn't have that Sticky Web up, then this Deoxys probably sweeps the rest of his team. maybe, oh, we'll save for Cinderace maybe, but uh, Deoxys plus a Cinderace counter would have done it. And that's almost what happened with the Abomasnow, but we do manage to win here. I do think my game plan was really nice. I'm gonna pat myself on the back for it. uh, and I'm just glad that the Drifblim put in the work that it needed to. I was kind of worried that I didn't have enough move slots. Like I wanted Calm Mind, I wanted Thunderbolt to hit. There was a water type that was on this team that is slipping my mind right now. Oh yeah, Tentacruel. Because without those, like I'm not really threatening Tentacruel. I might be able to like survive hits on my substitute, and like maybe play for some Shadow Ball hacks there. But it would have been a really slow game if it came down to that. And then Will-O-Wisp would have been really nice as well to completely shut down the Roaring Moon and the Landorus, but and the Tinkaton. But I just didn't have room for all of that, so I picked the 4 moves that I thought I needed, and I ended up getting pretty good use out of most of them. Didn't end up getting off the Terra Blast, but I could have used it on the Roaring Moon. In any case, yeah, nice, and I didn't have to use Landorus either, so that tells me that this team's like mid-tiers are pretty strong, that I was able to handle this team, like how relatively strong it is, which is a sign of a good team, I think. All right, that's probably enough rambling from me. Pretty soon we'll be doing the review for all of the Week 1 games, which I believe are all done at the time of me recording this, so that'll be exciting. I hope to see my boy Ephemeral get a win as well, because he similarly had a tough match in Week 1, which you definitely should go check out. I think I linked it on my last video if you want to see it. Otherwise, it's Ephemeral Style on YouTube. You can find him there. And yeah, hope to see you later.